What's going on, everybody? This is Julien Stoutt, licensed personal trainer, licensed PE teacher, world record powerlifter, here to take the fear out of fitness. Guys, have you ever did something to where you found yourself still doing it even though you weren't even thinking about it anymore? For instance, you ever played a video game and you meant to stop after 2 hours, if that ever is a thing, but if you decided that you were going to stop after 2 hours and then you're going to go do something else, but then you realized you've been playing for 4, maybe 6 hours, how do you feel when that happens? Do you feel annoyed? Do you feel frustrated? Or do you just go with it and accept what is and just keep moving? Well, sometimes you do any of one of those three things, but nowadays people will try to push their agenda onto you and make you feel a certain way about who you are as a person because you, in error, did not meet the demands that society has placed on you, right? Well, this is the same thing with obese people. What if I told you that obesity affects the brain to such a degree where the brain doesn't even recognize that it's even eaten? What if I told you that you have an opportunity now to be more empathetic to people who are obese, because while you might think it is as simple as just don't do this, that it's not that simple. I'm going to get into it later, but at this point in time, the truth is now we are learning that the brain is affected. Guys, do me a favor before I continue on with this. Go ahead and click the like button. Go ahead and click the subscribe button if you haven't, and click the all notifications. That will also help me with the algorithm, so that way I can continue to give you more of what I'm giving you. Also, if you think this shirt is cool, you could go to this website here. This is my shirt channel. If you go to Shopify, if you go to that link right there, you will actually see this shirt on sale for you to purchase. Feel free to purchase it if you want. If you don't, that's okay with me also. However, here's the deal. It'll also be in the descriptions below in this video. But now we're going to move on to what is going on with the human brain when you become obese. All right. So, diminished brain. This is from Yale News. I'm getting this from Yale News, but this is all over media in general. So you can see it on CNN. I'm sure it's on all major networks, but this is Yale News. Diminished brain response to nutrients observed in people with obesity. And I'm going to be specific. It's actually macronutrients that are not responding. A new study reveals a diminished response to nutrients among people with obesity. And that is this brain response, and that this brain response is not recovered after weight loss. So you ever wondered why somebody grinded it out, lost all this weight, and then all of a sudden 5-6 years down the road you see them and they're just as big as they were before they even went on this journey? Well, this is one of the answers. And this is on June 12th, so this is literally yesterday they published this. They post this. After a person eats, the gut dispatches a series of signals to the brain conveying the presence of nutrients, a phenomenon that scientists believe may help regulate eating behavior. However, in a new study led by Yale's Surley, researchers found that while the detection of nutrients in the stomach does induce brain activity changes in lean people, such brain responses are largely diminished in people with obesity. So that means your brain is in a fog, right? Your brain is in a fog. Your brain doesn't know up from down when it comes to food. Your brain does not register, does not focus on what's happening to the body at that time. It is completely unaware. All right, I'm going to continue reading here. These differences in brain activity, the researchers say, could help explain why it's difficult for some to lose weight and maintain weight loss. The findings were published June 12th in Nature Metabolism. Over 4 million people die each year around the world as a result of being overweight, according to the World Health Organization. And understanding the biological factors that contribute to obesity will be essential for addressing its devastating global impact, says research as well. Part of it is genetics, because all across the world there are people who are obese. Now, in the United States of America, it's a little bit worse. However, the deal is that it is always, what if you find out that a lot of the chemicals you find in your foods is affecting your brain chemistry to the point where now your brain is not functioning to register when your body has eaten. All right, that's a what if. This is not definite, but you know, in the future, if this comes to pass, you heard it here first. And while the ways that the body responds to nutrient intake may be a key factor in eating behavior, the role of nutrient signaling in humans is not well understood. All right. For the new study, researchers infuse glucose or fat directly into the stomach. You don't eat your food. They're literally giving it to you in a feeding tube. Of 28 people identified as lean, whose body mass index, garbage, of 25 or less, and 30 people with obesity, BMI of 30 or higher, also garbage. All right. Now, it's partially garbage. I'm not going to sit here and tell you BMI has no scientific truth to it. But the problem is we're not accounting for muscle mass. All right. But I'm safe to assume that these people with a BMI of 30 also had a body fat percentage of 30 or higher. Male or female, doesn't matter. They then assessed brain activity through functional magnetic resonance imagery. So that's fMRI. Among lead participants, the researchers saw evidence of reduced activity across various regions of the brain following the infusion of both glucose and fat. So it doesn't even matter whether you ate sugar or whether you ate a fatty food. So if you had chocolate, won't matter. If you have a food that contains both sugar and fat, donuts, doesn't matter. Your brain, if you're obese, is not going to register that you actually ate it. As a matter of fact, your brain, your mouth is going to acknowledge that you tasted it, but your brain is not going to acknowledge that it was eaten. So therefore, your body's going to want more of it because your brain is waiting for the sensation. Kind of similar to when you eat artificial sweeteners. When you eat artificial sweeteners, it happens the same way. Your brain is looking for the sugar, but there is not enough of the energy substance in your body for you to recognize exactly what's going on in the brain. The brain is like, where's the sugar? And you're like, I ate sugar. And you're like, no, you didn't. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. Put more sugar in me, right? Among lead participants, the researchers saw evidence of reduced activity. I already read this part. So, this was surprising, said Surly, a professor of medicine endocrinology at Yale School of Medicine and senior author of the study. We thought there would be a different responses between lean people and people with obesity, but we didn't expect this lack of changes in the brain activity in people with obesity. Surly and her colleagues then took a closer look at brain region called the striatum. Striatum, which previous research has shown mediates the rewarding and motivational aspects of food intake and plays a key role in regulating eating behavior. The striatum does this in part through the neurotransmitter dopamine. So meaning those same factors that give you a dopamine hit, kind of like your phone gives you a dopamine hit every time it blings or it chimes or vibrates, you're not getting it through food. All right. Using fMRI, they found that lean people, both glucose and fat, led to decreased activity in two parts of the striatum. However, only glucose led to changes in the brain activity in participants with obesity. So that means over consumption of sugar. And as we know, if you're over consuming sugar, your body converts it into fat. And if your body's converting it into fat, you then become obese, therefore causing your muscles to now not register the insulin that is pumping into your body because you have eaten so much sugar. Therefore, you become what? Diabetic. All right. So, fat did not change brain activity in this region. When researchers evaluated dopamine release in the striatum following nutrient infusion, they found that glucose induced dopamine release in both groups of participants, while fat only caused dopamine release in lean ones, which means it kind of even plays into the whole Jack Sprat can eat no fat, his wife can eat no lean, right? Because Jack Sprat ate fat, he's not hungry anymore. Where his wife was large and couldn't eat anything lean because anything lean doesn't register with her. All right. This is ironic, but anyway. When researchers evaluated dopamine release in the striatum of the following nutrient infusion, they found that glucose induced dopamine release in both groups, but only fat in lean. These findings, the researchers said, are compatible with reduced nutrient sensing in people with obesity. For the study, participants with obesity underwent 12-week dietary weight loss program. Those who lost at least 10% of their body weight were then re-imaged. So literally only 10% of your body weight, which also creates a tipping point, so to speak, where people will then begin to lose weight repetitively over time if you lost 10% of your body weight. Prior analysis have found most people who lose weight within a few years of dieting prior analysis have found that most people who lose weight regaining it within a few years of dieting. It's usually anywhere between 2 to 5 years of dieting, you usually gain it back. All right. In my clinic, when I see people with obesity, they often tell me, I ate dinner, I know I did, but it doesn't feel like it. And I think that's the part of this defective nutrient sensing. This may be why people overeat despite the fact that they've consumed enough calories, and importantly, it might explain why it's so hard to keep the weight off. Understanding the biology of eating behavior in humans is still in its early stages, says Surly, and more research will be needed to uncover why diminished nutrient sensing occurs in some people, what biological pathways are involved, and when these changes begin to take hold. Everyone overeats at times, but it's unclear why some people continue to overeat and others don't. We need to find where that point is when the brain starts to lose its capacity to regulate food intake, and what determines that switch. Because if you know when and how it happens, you might be able to prevent it. I don't really like people messing with the brain so much, all right? But if it can help and we can do something about it and it's deadly, then I'm all for it. Similarly, knowing when changes to nutrient sensing becomes irreversible would help physicians determine treatment plans for patients. And one goal for the future, Surly said, would be to find a way to restore nutrient sensing if possible. People think obesity is caused by a lack of willpower. I know better. But we've shown that there's a real difference in the brain when it comes to nutrient sensing. All right. So what that means is sugar all day. Brain in the minds of obese people is sugar all day. Sugar. All right? Which also lends to the point that carbs aren't necessarily bad. Your brain begins to transform when you overconsume calories, and then you become obese, which means you're overconsuming sugar, not eating sugar in general, but you're overconsuming sugar, right? That's number one. Number two, now you can see that it is not as simple as stop eating that garbage. It is, and it isn't at the same time. I can tell somebody stop eating that garbage till the cows come home, but it's not going to change anything until they do. Their brain is looking for the pleasure sensors when they eat, and they're not getting it. So they're going to do what it takes to get it. And unfortunately, what it takes to get it is sugar. I'm about to land the plane, people, so bear with me for a minute. The answer for the time being, until there is a absolute cure for this, is a lifestyle change. You know you ate, you know you did, but you're not satisfied. Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to learn how to be satisfied with what you eat. If you have to, go ahead and throw a mild level of sugar into your food. Mild, very mild. All right? Because you don't want to go overloading the brain with dopamine in order to let the brain know that you have eaten. All right? This is where you'll have one of those little these Reese's miniatures, or a couple of handful of M&Ms or something to that nature. That would help you along with what it is that you're doing, because your brain is not registering any fat, right? So, lifestyle change, drink plenty of water, all the things that we've been telling you to do in the fitness profession to help you lose weight needs to happen, and you need to be vigilant on maintaining that lifestyle as much as possible. So, my personal fear for obese people is that if they try to indulge, even sensibly indulge, the dopamine hit becomes so intense that it becomes addictive, and therefore you backslide, therefore you fail at your lifestyle change. Because I'm not going to call it a diet at this point, because clearly dieting will not work in this particular situation. It has to be a lifestyle change. So this is the time where some of you out here in YouTube land need to back off of obese people, in the sense that I'm not excusing and I am not advocating for obesity to just run ragged, but what I am advocating for is a little bit more kindness and empathy in obese people, so that way you and them can be the best you. Guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you learned something valuable today. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. And if you love the shirt, go to my Shopify shop and go ahead and pick one up. Have a nice day, and be the best you.